Hello everybody and welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to make rose leaves. Really quick and simple. These little things here. Lovely, great fun to do. So what I'm using today, I'm going to be using the Artista Soft and the Medina paste. Now I'm going to be using a mixture of the two. It's going to be 80% Medina because that's stronger, and then I'm going to be using 20% of the Artista Soft. So I have been a good girl and I've already mixed them up. So this is my texture that I'm working with today. It's all nice and soft, but I haven't coloured it yet. I thought I would do that in front of you guys so you can see what I do. I'm going to be using oil paints. This is the one I'm using, Zap Green. I like this one. This is from Winsor & Newton. It's quite a nice one. It's an oil colour. You haven't got to use this. Now, there's lots of different things you can do, and I'm going to talk about different cutters, veiners, all sorts of things that I'm touching on today. But colour, you can mix the strong pigment colours together to make a nice green. That's really nice, but that's in a different video. I didn't want to bore you with that. You can also use food colours. You can use any type of paint, really, it's fine. But what I will say is only mix up what you need for that day, because it doesn't store very well once it's mixed. So please make sure you keep an eye on that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up, and so it's kind of like a flat paste. I'm going to unscrew, and then we just put a little bit in. Now, always start off with just putting a little bit, okay? And then we'll see if we need to add more. You can't take it away. Now, if you do accidentally colour too much, then break it in half and add more white to it. But like I said, try not to colour too much because it doesn't store great. So I'm mixing that up, as you can see. That goes lovely. Now, I'm quite cold today. My hands are freezing. So I'm not quite sure what reaction the paste is going to have to that. There's bound to be something that will happen. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that's the green is matching what I've already got there, which is absolutely fine. So that's a really nice green, I think. You can go darker if you wish. I sometimes paint over mine as well to make them just a little bit more darker. It looks nice. So make sure there's no paint or debris on your board. I had a little bit there, which I'm just kneading in. And then we're ready to start. Now I'm going to show you two different ways of doing rose leaves. One will be slightly thicker, but you can judge which one you prefer to do. Everyone has a different method. It's totally fine. As I always say, I don't think there's a wrong way of doing these things. So I've got myself, I'm using a 24 gauge wire for this. This is quite a strong wire. I'm going to cut it in half, roughly, like so. Now I don't put a hook on the end of these wires, and I put them ready. So, two different methods. Always make sure that you cover your paste when you're not using it. So when I put my hand over here, I'm just making sure it's underneath a little tub there. And then I'm rolling my paste into a sausage. That's the first thing. Now I'm going to squash it down flat. As you can see, my hands have gone a little bit green, but it comes off. Now, small rolling pin. I have conditioned my board before I started, so I did rub some cream or Trex into there and wipe it clean just before I started. It cleans the board, but it also conditions it and makes it really nice to work on as well. Now we're rolling out, and I'm leaving a nice ridge going up there. And then I'm rolling the top of that ridge out. And then we work on going thinner. So you could actually get 2 leaves out of this if you were stretching, but I'm just doing the one. Now I'm gradually rolling out. And then if I just hold that up, you can see what I've got there. So that nice ridge that we've got is where I'm going to put the cutter to cut out my leaf, and that's where the wire is going to be inserted. So now I do tend to hold it up, and I don't know if you can see actually. You should be able to see daylight through it. That's my go-to to make sure that it's nice and thin. So I can see daylight all the way around my vein that I've left there, my groove, if you like. Now then, cutters. There's so many of them. Now you can get metal ones, you can get 3D printed ones, you can get these tiny little ones as well. There's so many on the market, and I think choose which one you think is going to work best for you. So I am going to use these 3D printed ones. These are actually from Christina Wallis. And I am favoriting these at the moment, I've got to be honest. They are just beautiful. The cutters aren't very expensive. The Vena is well priced, I would say, for what it is, because there's a lot of silicone in there, which I will show you in a second. So I'm just cutting out. I am rubbing my finger around there to give it a clean cut. That's what this is called. Just making it nice and clean. And then I can get my finger and just pop out. So now we can see we have a ridge ready for the wire. Now when we get the wire, you can dip it in water, glue. I don't like water because it tends to send these wires rusty after a long period of time. A little bit of glue works, but I tend to just push them in there fine. There is a tiny little bit of shrinkage with this clay. So I find as it shrinks, it tends to shrink onto the wire anyway. I've never had any serious problems. Now I'm going about halfway in there and then it's done. So it all happens really quickly. There we go. And then Venas. I've got a couple here. Both of them are actually from Christina Wallis. This one's really nice. This was my first one I got from her. It's lovely, and I think it comes in a set with a petal as well, petal Vena. That's a lovely one, but then I've upgraded recently. You might have seen me unpack the box, but I got this one. This is a beautiful Vena. So what I'm going to show you, we get a little bit of either Trex petal base. You can use cream, oil as a sort of non-sticking agent. And because this is a smaller petal, I'll be using the top of the vein. So that's a little bit of a tip of mine, is always buy the biggest veining you can get, and you can go smaller. But if you buy a small vein, you can't go bigger. Now it does depend on the type of vein. It doesn't always work that way. So I'm just rubbing a little bit of the petal base I'm actually using here, just to stop that sticking. So we rub that in nicely, and then we put our leaf to the top of the Vena. Now line the wire up nicely. You can see that's in there, and I've got the wire coming down the groove of the vein. And then we place carefully over the top. We want to get it all lined up. And then I'm using this part of my hand. Now this is a habit thing. I normally use my fingers, but I'm getting arthritis in my fingers now and they're getting painful. So try and use this part of your hand. It's much better. Now, can you see that? I hope it picks it up. There's a beautiful vein there. Now to get it out, I'm giving it a little squeeze and hoping it's going to release. There we are. Beautiful. Now can you see the veins in that? It makes it look so realistic. Now I haven't quite finished there because I want to give it a few finishing flourishes, if you like. So I'm gonna put it on the palm of my hand. You could use a foam pad if you've got one. And with the rounded end of my rolling pin, I'm just gently rolling around the edge. Now this will thin the edge out, but it also gives it a bit of movement, as you can see. Now I'm turning it over, and then I'm just stroking inwards a little bit, just a little bit, not much. Now this is going to give it a lovely kind of curled in movement. So you're just tweaking the paste just a tiny bit. And I'm not doing it all over, but I'll show you in a second what this does. I think it really adds to it. And then I fold. So be quite brutal, because then you're going to unfold it, but fold in half completely, as you can see. And then we just tweak it back to where we want it. Is it one that's completely open? Is it one that's just bursting open? These are all decisions that you can make. There we go. And that is my leaf. I think that's okay. I think that's passable as a rose leaf. So that is the one method. Okay, so now we've got our leaf, and it's already done setting and drying lovely. Put it on a piece of foam and that will dry lovely. So I'm now going to pull over some that I've already made. I'm just going to show you how to tape them up. Now I've done different sizes. I've gone one large one there, then two medium and two smaller ones go at the bottom. That's how the leaves are normally put together. So I have started taping a few of them. Can you see I just tape a little bit at the top here, and I've just got this one to finish, so I'm going to show you how I do it. Get your florist tape. Now always cut the florist tape in half, sometimes even more than that if you wish. We're just going to cut this in half, like so. Stretch to release the glue. Now, if your hands have got any Trex on them or cream, what you'll find is they won't stick. So this is corn flour in this bag. I'm just putting my fingers on the corn flour because that will help me to do this, because otherwise it will stick to itself, rather, it will stick to me rather than itself, I should say. So I'm folding it round and then I'm twisting really tight, like so. Now can you see I've done it? There's a little gap at the top, so I'm just pushing that up so that it covers that gap, and then I'm twiddling down a little bit, like so, and then leaving it. Now we go to the first one. Got corn flour on it now. The first one is the biggest one. Now I'm going to tape over this one again, just because it's slightly thicker. Now we come down, I'm going to say about 1 inch, and then we stop. And we need to gently bend the wires. Can you see how I bent them? So there's a little bit of stem showing, and that's going to be either side. So you've got a left and a right, and we pop them in. So check your heights as you're doing this. As you can see, you want them so that they look nice. Bring it up or down where it needs to be, and then we tape those together. So again, stretch to release the glue, and then as I'm doing it, I'm really pushing with these fingers to make that a really nice tight tape, like so. So that's looking good so far. You could leave it like this, but I'm going to go a little bit further down. If the tape breaks, it's fine, just add it again. Make sure that your leaves are obviously the right way up. That's something really important. Some people get carried away and their leaves will be twisted. I know when I've been judging, sometimes you get that. Just make sure that the veins are all facing upwards and the right way round, because otherwise you spend a lot of time doing this and it looks a bit weird, and you'll be looking at it for ages trying to figure out what's wrong with it. Okay, and then we go all the way down. As you can see, it all moves. That's totally fine. Don't worry about that. Just keep going all the way down until we get to the end, and then we go back and tweak. Now that looks lovely, I hope you'll agree, but as you can see, it's very stiff. Now I was told by a very good friend of mine years ago, who used to help me do floristry, her name was Dindy. She said you don't get a lot of stems that are very straight. Always think of a ballerina dancing. So I tend to over exaggerate my twists and bends and moves, and then I put them back again, because that will guarantee to put a kind of little bit of movement into that wire, which is exactly what you want, because it makes it look more realistic, and whether they're just coming up a little bit more like so. But I hope you agree. You can see the veins in there. I think they're lovely. Now I can varnish those. I haven't done anything with them because I'm actually making a lot of leaves at the minute. I'm going to be doing lots of different leaves for different roses. That's my plan. But let's have a look. Where are my roses? If I put that there, that doesn't look out of place, does it? Tweak that forward a little bit. That would make a lovely corsage, or in your hair, wherever you fancy. But also some of the larger roses that I've done, they look beautiful. And I do think they really just finish off your roses completely. And as you can see, I've got some here. Let's pull that one out, because that's one of my favourites at the moment. Doesn't that look stunning? So that's how we make rose leaves. I hope you enjoyed this quick little video. I hope you make lots of rose leaves. Please feel free to message me if you've got any questions at all. Please watch out for more videos on YouTube. My website is cassiebrown.com, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching.